Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. You know we love it when you send in source material, and this time, wow, we've got some really interesting stuff to dig into.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like we'll be diving into Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Exactly. You all sent in some choice excerpts, and it's clear this book has really struck a chord. I mean, over 15 million copies sold. That's got to tell you something.
It really does. And for this deep dive, we want to go beyond just the usual summary. We're going to take apart the core ideas of this book.
Yeah, we want to really help you, the listener, understand how making small, almost tiny changes can actually lead to huge improvements in your life.
Exactly. Tiny changes, huge results. That's the big promise, right?
Absolutely. 1% improvements each day adding up to massive success over time. It makes you think, though, right? I mean, have you ever tried to stick with a new habit and found it harder than you thought, even when you knew it was good for you?
Oh, yeah. It's a challenge we've probably all faced. We set those big goals, those New Year's resolutions and all that.
Right. Then life gets in the way, and those big plans kind of fade away.
Exactly. And that's where the beauty of these atomic habits comes in. Small, manageable, consistent.
Okay, so let's break it down. When we talk about atomic habits, what are we really talking about?
Well, James Clear, he lays it out pretty simply. It's about those small improvements, the 1% better every day. Those might not seem like much in the short term,
Right.
but over time, it really adds up. It's like he gives this example. If you get just 1% better each day for a year, you end up 37 times better than you were at the start.
Wow, 37 times. That's a huge difference.
Yep.
It's like you go from barely moving the needle to completely changing the game. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around at first.
It is. It is. It can seem counterintuitive. But think about it like this. He uses this analogy of an airplane. If a plane adjusts its course just a little bit, a few degrees, at first you barely notice a difference.
Right.
But if that plane keeps flying for hundreds, thousands of miles, that tiny adjustment ends up taking it to a completely different place.
I like that. It really shows you how even small changes, if you keep doing them, can lead to huge results in the long run. It's like you're slowly but surely steering yourself towards a whole new destination.
Exactly. Or think about something like saving money. Putting aside a small amount each day might not seem like much, but keep doing that over years, and suddenly you've got a significant nest egg. It's the consistency, that compounding effect that makes all the difference.
So we're talking about small changes, small actions, but done consistently.
Right.
And those lead to big, big results over time.
Right. It's not about making those huge sweeping changes that you can never stick with. It's the tiny, manageable habits that really transforms things.
Something about changing your approach, really changing your mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And Clear, he gives us a really practical framework for actually building these habits. He calls them the 4 laws of behavior change.
Okay, I like it. A framework. So what's the first law?
Well, the first law is make it obvious. The idea is you need clear cues to trigger the behavior you want. Our environment has a huge impact on our habits. So if you make those cues for good habits obvious, you're way more likely to actually do them.
I see. So it's not just about reminders. It's about really designing your surroundings to make good habits easier to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, let's say you want to read more. A simple thing you could do is just keep a book on your pillow.
On your pillow.
Yeah, so you see it right before you go to sleep. It's a clear reminder to pick it up and read. It's like a nudge in the right direction.
Okay, I get it. So it's about making the habit you want almost impossible to ignore. You're setting yourself up for success just by how you arrange things.
Exactly. Now, the second law, that's all about motivation. It's make it attractive. We tend to do things that we enjoy, things we find rewarding.
Makes sense.
So the key here is to link the habit you want to build with something you already enjoy. You make it appealing, something you look forward to.
Okay, so how do you make a habit attractive? I mean, some habits are just, chores.
Right, but think about it like this. Let's say you love coffee, right? Most people do.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you want to read more. You could make a rule for yourself. Only have your coffee after you've read for 10 minutes.
Oh, I like that.
You're basically pairing the thing you want to do with something you already love. It's like a little reward system.
Smart. Use the things you already enjoy to help build those new habits.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. What about the third law?
The third law is make it easy. It's all about reducing friction, minimizing the effort it takes to do the habit. The easier it is to do something, the more likely you are to stick with it.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Sometimes just getting started is the hardest part.
It really is. So think about things like if you want to exercise more, lay out your workout clothes the night before.
Okay. Yeah.
Right by your bed. That way, you don't even have to think about it in the morning. You just grab them and go.
That's a good one. It's like removing all the little obstacles that might make you hesitate. You're making it as easy as possible to just get started.
Precisely. And the fourth law, this one's about reinforcement. It's make it satisfying. We like to repeat things that make us feel good, right? Even small rewards can make a big difference.
So we're talking about positive reinforcement,
Right.
making sure you feel good after doing the habit so you want to do it again.
Exactly. One really simple way to do this is just track your habits. Use a journal, an app, even just mark it on a calendar. Seeing those check marks, that visual progress, it feels good. It motivates you to keep going.
Oh yeah, I can see that. It's like a visual reminder of your success. It makes you want to keep that streak going.
Sure.
So we've got these 4 laws: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. And what Clear is saying is if you follow these laws, you're setting yourself up for success, right?
Exactly. It takes the focus away from willpower and motivation, which can be so unreliable. Instead, it's about building systems, shaping your environment to make those good habits almost automatic.
Now, we talked about building good habits, but the excerpts you all sent in, they also talked about breaking bad habits.
Mhm.
And it seems like these 4 laws, we could flip them around to help us do that too, right?
Absolutely. To get rid of a habit you don't want, you basically invert those 4 laws.
Okay, let's walk through it. So
Yeah.
the first law for good habits was make it obvious. What's the opposite for bad habits?
It's make it invisible. Get those triggers out of sight, out of mind. Like if you're trying to stop snacking on junk food, just get it out of the house. Don't even have it around. If you don't see it, you're less likely to crave it.
Simple but effective.
Right. And the second law, make it attractive. The reverse is make it unattractive. Remind yourself of all the negative consequences.
Oh, so instead of focusing on the good feelings, you focus on the bad ones.
Yeah, exactly. If you're trying to cut back on social media, remind yourself how it eats up your time, how it can make you feel bad about yourself.
So you're basically associating the bad habit with negative feelings, making it less appealing. What about the third law? We said for good habits, it's make it easy.
Right. So for bad habits, it's make it difficult. Add friction. Make it harder to do the thing you don't want to do.
Give me an example.
Okay, say you spend too much time on your phone, scrolling endlessly. Delete those tempting apps. Make it so you have to go through extra steps to get to them.
So you have to really think about it before you do it. It's not so automatic anymore.
Exactly. You're creating a pause, a moment where you can reconsider. And finally, remember the fourth law. Make it satisfying.
Yeah, for good habits.
For bad habits, it's make it unsatisfying. Make sure there are consequences, even small ones. And a great way to do this is through accountability.
Okay, explain that one.
Well, let's say you're trying to stop overspending. Tell a friend about your goal and ask them to check in with you. Knowing someone's going to ask you about it, that makes it less likely you'll slip up.
Interesting. So it's like you're adding a layer of, I don't know, social pressure maybe, that makes it less satisfying to do the bad habit.
Exactly. You're more likely to stay on track if you know someone's going to hold you accountable.
So we've got these 4 laws, these 4 tools that we can use to break those bad habits that are holding us back. And it's all about being proactive, about taking control.
It really is. It's empowering. It shows you that you're not at the mercy of your habits. You can change them.
And the big takeaway here, it's not about those drastic overnight transformations. It's about those small, consistent efforts.
100%. It's about being just a little bit better each day. It's about those atomic habits that over time can completely change your life.
So as you've been listening to this, thinking about atomic habits, here's a question for you. What's one tiny habit, one small change that you could start today? What could you do to be just 1% better?
And to add to that, think about one area of your life, maybe your health, your work, your relationships, where a small change, even something tiny, could make a huge difference a year from now. What could you start doing today to get there? Think about it.
And that's it for this deep dive. As always, keep those recommendations coming. Until next time.
See you then.